All right. All right. Thank you so much for being here. This is our 17th Moore Up North, and I'm so excited. It's Women's History Month, and Katie Hurley is here, and I'm really looking forward to talking to her. She's just one of my heroes, absolute heroes. And we were going to have a panel of all women, but because women are busy and having other things going on in their life, we had to get a few men who weren't doing anything else on a Thursday night. And I'm so glad they weren't, because I'm glad that they're going to be here. And anyway, one of them is a neocon and is here with his own props from his personal hero. And it's just going to be a great time. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to be talking about all things Alaskan. All right. Did you spell that right?
I don't think so.
All right. We'll be right back. Thank you guys so much for being here, and to you at home for watching. This is Moore Up North, and I'm excited. I think this is our 17th episode that we've done, and it's been so much fun. And I've been wanting to do this interview for a long time, frankly. In fact, I think it's part of the reason that I agreed to do a television show, was I thought that I might be able to get this woman here, and she's a huge hero of mine. So this is quite an honor, I have to say. This is, you know, supposed to be Women Awareness Month or something, marches, like you're not aware of women all the time, even if you're not one. It's kind of funny, but Katie Hurley is here, and she was born and raised in Juneau and worked for the Territorial Governor Ernest Gruening for 12 years. In the 1940s, she became chief clerk to the Alaska Constitutional Convention in 1955, and she was the Senate Secretary for the Territorial Legislature. And there's just like the list of what has happened in Alaska that Katie Hurley was part of is just outstanding. And I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
I know there's all this, you know, you've done all the mom stuff, you're doing the grandma stuff, you've done all this, but you know, you've been part of Alaska for so long. And when you were at the Constitutional Convention, you were the clerk there, you were listening to all the arguments and everything. What did you think Alaska would be then, and what part of that has come true? Did you have high hopes? Because I know a lot of people were against statehood.
Oh yes, I was very much in favor of statehood, and I knew that with the kind of people that had been elected to the Constitutional Convention, that we had a lot of good leaders in our population. I mean, I will say there have been disappointments, but most of the time the people we've elected have turned out to be what I had hoped for.
So it must have really been amazing at the time. I know for us to become a state, what that meant for Alaska Native population, what that meant for the people that were here, what it meant for the military, what it really meant for the country, that we were adding another star to the flag. And Alaska was protested by several states because they didn't want another liberal state, one of those Western liberal states. And can you explain a little bit to people that have come here since the pipeline, perhaps, that we used to actually be a liberal state?
Yes.
It wasn't the Ice Age that we were blue in. It was just before the pipeline.
Well, the issues were brought home to people more because we were smaller, and people traveled. You had to travel a lot to get around this. When I first got involved in politics, and people would be so happy to have someone coming from Juneau that they would turn out. I mean, you always had a crowd, even in a place like Wasilla, which was they had one of the first debates over the radio one year in the early late 40s or early 50s, and it was in Wasilla in a bar, not really a bar, but
kind of like this one.
But it was actually it was a community center, but it was close to bars right around there, and it was a huge success. I remember listening on the radio in Juneau because that was the only way of, they just had the telephone and got the radio to carry it, and it was memorable. But everybody was excited about the fact, not everybody, but those of us who were in favor of statehood. It was a time when we could get together at the shortest notice and have a crowd to welcome someone who would come from Washington, D.C., and they did come up quite often. We had several committees that came up, and that helped to educate some of the people. And there was always that anti-statehood group, but it was...
Well, they're still here.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
I think they're the Alaska Independence Party. There's still people that are against statehood for what that's become. So you said there have been a few disappointments along the way, and we were talking about, being a liberal state and what that means, and also, Alaskan women had the right to vote before American women did in the territory by almost 30 years, because, well, frankly, if you fell off your boat and there was a woman to pull you back in, you might as well let her vote, or she might just take your vote out. And let you sink. But there was the issue of abortion. It was decriminalized here before Roe v. Wade. The fact that Native Alaskans had the right to vote before American natives did. There were some really progressive things. There were some real, some buoyancy to this humanity, like, okay, we're all going to have to float at the same rate here.
Well, the delegates to the Constitutional Convention in '55, they looked ahead. They didn't look back. They were looking ahead, and they were able to pass a lot of articles in the Constitution that had never been in law before. And no one dreamed in '55 that we would be a state in less than 5 years. It was a real miracle, I think.
And you're still smiling about it. It's so great to see you're still smiling about it because it was such a success. And there was so much hard work behind it. And I know.
Well, and the people who were there, they sacrificed. They got very little money, hardly enough to pay their expenses. And most of them weren't able to bring their families. They were there alone. And there was a camaraderie amongst several of the younger group that continues to this day.
Was there any shenanigans going on? Because we know there are. Come on, Katie. I gotta know.
I don't think there was time for it.
Really?
Because
they were working so hard.
When I was young, I loved to dance, and well, I still do, but and there wasn't time to do that. I thought, I'd have a great time. Sometimes we'd go out and we'd be dancing, but nobody was really wanting to spend that kind of time. They were getting together and discussing how we're going to work this out, and there were gatherings in the lobbies of the hotels where some of us stayed, and there was a cocktail hour for those who enjoyed it. But it was not
that there's anything wrong with that.
No, there wasn't a lot of partying going on because they worked very hard, and the hours, and it was very cold that winter.
Right, because it's been warm all the rest of them.
And we had to ride and be ready to go out to the university on the bus at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the bus came back about 7, and towards the end, I had to have a typewriter in my apartment so that I could transcribe the minutes, because there was no way that I was going to get home. I didn't have a car, so I had to come home, transcribe what I hadn't been able to finish during the day because they were meeting such long hours towards the end.